Well, hello, you fabulous interior design professional, and welcome to Business of Design, episode 402. Just like that, over 400 episodes. I cannot believe it. Today's episode is near and dear to my heart because you probably know this already, but I love purchasing artwork for clients. Love, love, love. In fact, today I came from a client's house where we were hanging the final pieces she selected, the pieces which we had borrowed for the installation, but then had to take and get framed. And we had them going above a couple of stone fireplaces, for example, and we had to get our art installers back, which oh my gosh, I love everything about the process of buying art for clients. I can't imagine a room feeling remotely finished without the artwork. And I don't know what it is, but most of my clients feel very unsure about how to go about purchasing art and what kind of artwork to buy. And I love, love, love everything about it. And I challenge myself, to put together combinations of things which aren't matching and aren't coordinated. They're completely disparate, but there's a feeling or there's a vibe or there's a mood that I want to capture. And 95% of the time, once we're hanging in the client's house, they decide they're going to purchase it, which is exciting and thrilling because it means that I can go ahead and photograph the house, right? How many times in the past did I used to get to the point with clients where we needed to do artwork and and only then we'd be able to photograph, but the client's like, oh no, we'll buy the artwork when we're on vacation. And oh my gosh, bad idea, drinking tequila on the beach in Playa del Carmen, and you come home with some really bad tourist art. You don't want to do that. So I now know to include that as part of the styling process. And if you're not doing that, you should be a member of Business of Design. Well, we'll teach you how to do that. We'll teach you how to make it profitable, and we'll teach you how to feel great about your decision to do the art purchasing. Today, we have a guest who is going to talk to us about her philosophy around art. A big hint here, she's recently co-authored a book called Start with the Art. It is releasing on October 29th. So it just released, I guess. And her name is Natalie Papier, and she is a designer, an art curator, a TV personality. She's based in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I love this idea that you could actually begin a project with a piece of art because you're just so inspired by it. I've never done that, except probably for myself. I'm very confident when I'm purchasing art. And a little secret between us, don't you tell anybody else, but I'm going to tell you this thing. I will frequently purchase artwork and I will hang it in my home and I will enjoy it for years. And then when we're styling a client's house, I'll think, oh, they really, really would love that piece that I have hanging in the dining room. And so we will hang that in the client's home. And in that way, I keep the artwork in my house fresh. I say goodbye to pieces that I have loved for 3 or 4 years. And in order to do that, I just make sure when I do the purchasing, I keep track of the provenance, the price, the information about the author, the art gallery. I can pass on all that information because that's where the item came from originally. And it's a nice way to keep, like I said, my own art collection rotating and feeling fresh. And there have been a couple of times where I was really, really sad to give up a piece, but I knew it was more well suited to the client's space than it was to the space where I had it currently. So that can happen too. I do think that art provides soul for the home. And so the conversation today hopefully will get you thinking about how you can include more art in your projects. And like I said, if you want to learn how to make that profitable, come to Business of Design. I will tell you exactly how we do it. Somebody else who can tell you exactly how we do it is Cheryl Horn, and she's got some announcements. Thanks everyone for being here.
Thanks, Kimberly. Well, coming up on November 20th is our next BOD Live, and we're covering a sales and marketing topic with Vanessa McQuaid. She's going to talk about how to make sales and marketing generate profit. She was featured back on episode 390 of the podcast talking about marketing musts. And we had a lot of inquiries from members, a lot of interest in that. So we invited Vanessa to join us on a BOD Live. So you can meet her and ask her your marketing questions on November 20th. So make sure you mark your calendar for that. In 2025, we are doing a boss retreat. So merging everything that we have learned from our elite retreats and our boss groups into a boss retreat in 2025. It will have homework leading up to it. We're going to take a look at your P&Ls, and we are also going to offer a coaching group following that retreat exclusive for the members who attend. Right now, it is in the event section of the website as a save the date, October 16th to 19th, 2025. We will have complete details available to you in January. That's when we plan to open registration. But we also have a wait list. So please, if you are interested, add your name to our wait list. We will give you a few days head start when we do open registration, and we'll send those details out to you a little bit earlier than we will post them on the website. So please add your name to the wait list if you are interested in joining us for our next retreat. Again, save the date, October 16th to 19th, 2025. Details, as always, are on the website, businessofdesign.com. Click on events. And as always, if you've got any questions, reach out to me, Cheryl at businessofdesign.com. Thanks so much.
Well, this is a perfect time to say hello to Natalie, who is the co-author of a book called Start with the Art. Nice to see you.
It's really nice to be here.
And you're in Charlotte.
I am. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Well, I just came in the door back from I was at a client's house and we were hanging artwork. So it's a perfect segue into the conversation we're going to have about the value that art brings to the interior design process, what it can do for your client's home, how you can direct them to making good choices and all that kind of stuff. But you go even a step further and you say, it should start with the art, hence the name of the book. So do you mean that? Do you literally mean when you're thinking about an interior design project, you could literally start by choosing the artwork first?
I very much subscribe to this being a really cool way to think about design a little bit differently. I know viewers can't see this, but I have a big marlin on the wall behind me.
If you see, this will get people to come to YouTube where you can see the big marlin that's hanging on the tiled wall. Yeah. So was he the inspiration?
Yes, the whole room. So like the ceiling is blue. So it's like is deep diving in an ocean.
Oh my God, that's so cool. So I don't know if that would work for me practically speaking. However, well, I don't want to say no because sometimes I learn something new and I change my philosophy. But what's interesting is when my husband and I first got married, I had artwork before I had most of my furniture because I just kept falling in love with pieces, and I realized that that was something that I've really loved to get involved with.
Yes, same. My background is in art and not interior design to start with. So art has always been a huge passion of mine. And I've always found something about it. What we're drawn to is so interesting. It can either be nostalgic, maybe it's the color palette, maybe it was the story behind how it was acquired, and kind of dispelling the rumor that you have to have a bunch of money to go to a gallery to buy art. And think of art in a different way. What is art? It could be a pottery collection. It could be a special piece that your grandma made that was a lacework doily, for example. It could be lighting, something really sculptural and beautiful. But also in a painting, if you're drawn to those colors, why not use that as a starting point to pull inspiration for the color palette, the shapes, the mood of a room? There's just a lot of different directions that I think art can take you as far as inspiration in a space.
Why do you think, and I think that this is probably true. So I think that this is probably true. A lot of people are afraid a lot of interior design professionals are afraid to recommend pieces of art to client. They say to their clients, well, we will find pieces that you love and you'll hang it over time. Not me. I want to buy all the art. I love when a client says, go for it. Do whatever you think. And I love, love, love when I can find a marlin. I don't want to just bring them a painting and a photograph. I want to bring them sculpture. I want to bring them things that challenge them and surprise them. So why is it that some people are intimidated by purchasing art?
It's a really hard thing to wrap my head around because for many years, even when I was just starting and I just started my business. We moved into our adult house and two little children, and we're house broke. I started going to estate sales and vintage shops and consignment shops and really finding some beautiful pieces that spoke to me without breaking the bank. Over time, my collection just continued. Like you were saying, just finding things that speak to you or something outside the box that might be a little bit different, not even really knowing where the design direction was going to go yet, but just that could be a really cool starting off point and really provide a story and soul to a home.
And I love when things don't match. I don't want to have I mean, what's going to quote unquote match with a marlin that's hanging on the wall? Like nothing, right? And I don't want to then pair that with only seashells and beach scenes because that feels like a cliche. I love this idea of just trusting my gut to know that these pieces go together, even though they're completely different. And selling that to the clients is I find it so much easier than a lot of people think it might be.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you consult with people to help them get their art collection going?
Very much so. And I agree with you as far as staying away from the themes. When we first moved into our house in Charlotte, my daughter wanted a beach themed room.
Right.
So what we did was paint her walls a really pretty kind of pale minty blue, just kind of evoking that beach feel without it being so very literal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I find that it takes a little bit more confidence for a lot of people to be willing to do that, to say to the clients, like, no, I know you think you want a theme, but you don't. Let me put together something more sophisticated for you so that you'll never get tired of it. That's the thing about a theme, right? A theme, you can take it immediately. It's a snap judgment, like, oh, beach theme, got it. But if it's not a theme, then you're invited to linger and contemplate and rethink a space. And even sometimes decide maybe you don't like a piece. Maybe I don't like that piece of art, but I get how it feels right in this space. Hey, did you know that 50% of interior design professionals aren't procuring at all for their clients? The reason? It's just too hard. But not with Daniel House Club. They make it easy. DHC simplifies your design business, offering everything you need in one place. No more wasting time managing orders. They've got it covered so you can concentrate on creating beautiful spaces. Plus, they offer some of the best trade pricing on top brands like Theodore Alexander, Jaipur Living, and Rove Concepts with flat rate shipping. To join, visit danielhouse.club and use the promo code BOD2024, all caps, for 50% off your first year of their Pro Plus membership. And for you longtime members of DHC, they want to reward you for your loyalty. Use the code PROFIT2024, all caps, at checkout to receive 10% off the value of your next order. Joining Daniel House Club is like Instacart for your interior design business. Experience how easy managing procurement for your clients can be.
Exactly. And I think what we are both drawn to is this idea of a more eclectic collection of things that play well nicely together, but they don't need to match and they don't need to be this version of perfection. It's more about the story and how it makes you feel and the stories behind the pieces in the room. It just provides so much more to a space.
I think so. I always tell clients too, it's a good idea to write on the back of the piece if it's a piece that you found on your own, like not the pieces I buy for clients, but for example, the pieces that I have in my home, I have little notes attached to the back, like, well, we found this, we were in Nashville, it was a really cool shop, and the guy only had one left, and I asked him to make me another one, like just a little story about it. So if I pass that on to my children one day, they'll say, "Oh, mom and dad went on a trip and they bought this there." Like you can pass on those romantic tales with the piece of art as well.
I love that so much. And I might have to steal that from you.
Steal away.
There are so many things in my home that people ask me about and that I have a story behind, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
fun to continue to let those memories pass on to the next generation.
Oh yeah. What I'm going to ask you about the book and what we're going to learn in the book, and I'm going to ask you that next. But I was in Nashville and I was at this shop and they had shoes, and they had shoes that were hand painted, and they had a pair of shoes that were painted with Dolly Parton. It was Dolly Parton's picture and images and words, and then there was another pair of shoes that were Catholic. They had some kind of iconography on it. I thought they were so cool. So I bought the two pairs of shoes and I'm like, what am I going to do with these shoes? Like, I'm not going to wear these shoes. Anyway, I ended up no, not framing, hanging the shoes on my wall. And they are my favorite pieces of art. I have my Dolly shoe and my Virgin Mother shoes hanging together in my house. And everybody goes, what the heck is this? So I can tell them if it's a little shoe shop in Nashville. I have no idea what they were thinking with these shoes, but anyway, they're too small for my feet anyway, size an 8 or something. I got huge feet. So tell us, what is the book going to teach us? How do you start with art?
There's a lot of different chapters in the book that go over different ways to first figure out who you are, what you're naturally drawn to, where to find inspiration, what is art, different sources of how to hang art. Do you like gallery walls? Well, there's lots of different ways to hang a gallery wall. You could do a very linear gallery wall, one that's more eclectic and made up of different pieces that don't all necessarily need to be a painting, right? We hang plates from a china collection. We
Yeah,
hang plants is art sometimes. The
yeah.
sculpture pieces that you might not conventionally think of hanging on your wall, like Dolly Parton shoes, end up being the most special piece in the room.
And not that expensive, by the way, as art goes.
Yes. It's
So
kind
is
of
this
breaking down those barriers.
so if it is the book for somebody who maybe has been intimidated by purchasing art in the past and now they're ready to kind of go forward with a little more courage, or who would you say the book is for?
I think it's for anyone who wants to explore more about who they are and what they want to reflect in their own home, people that are scared of color and how to use it. Just the whole combination of art and color and things that feel intimidating and how to break outside that box and really find something that feels like you, that you feel happy coming home to.
Hmm. Do you have any rule of thumb if you're like in a flea market or something like that and you see a vintage piece? How do you know if it's worthwhile for you to buy it?
For me, it's that moment of if I walk away and I didn't buy it right now, would I be so sad if I came back and it was gone? Because that happens. And sometimes you have to just tell yourself, I might not know where I'm going to put this piece, but it just speaks to me and I don't know why, and snag it.
Yeah. Particularly if it's wildly affordable or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. Then you don't think about it at all. You just buy it.
Yeah. We were in Hungary. We had taken a group of people to Hungary and the Czech Republic to learn about architecture and design. And we ended up at a flea market in Hungary, which is as crazy as that sounds. But they had some beautiful pieces that I would describe. I'm not an artist, but I would describe them as kind of cubist. And they were pennies. I mean, it was literally like so cheap. We bought so many paintings and brought them back and sold them to clients. And it was so fun to tell them about the experience of going to that flea market and the kind of communist stuff that was there and the like, just even like the experience of going up to order a coffee. They had a little snack bar and you ordered the coffee, but it was in a really chunky styrofoam cup. And like, it was just like, it was crazy. It felt like it felt like it was in a World War II movie or something. It was so dated. But we ended up buying, I don't know, 7 or 8 pieces. And I still have one of them that I kept and have a little story about where the flea market is and how we did that. It was very, very cool. So, yeah, I find that sometimes people are intimidated because the pricing can seem a little scary and you don't want to feel like you've been duped. So, when you're working with a gallery or a trusted source like that, I guess there's comfort in knowing that if it's a gallery owner, it's their brand on the line and they're going to sell you something that's that value. Is that fair to say?
Yes, and I love going to galleries too to see what they have, just get a better idea of what I like from there and the price of those things. And I have found sometimes if I go into a gallery, I'm really moved by an artist but I can't afford the piece. I will go back and look up that artist. And a majority of the time, a lot of these artists have prints for sale too. So I think if you don't necessarily have the money to drop down on this huge, amazing original piece of artwork, it will still feed your soul to have a print,
Mhm.
until you can afford the real deal.
Yeah, and I mean some of the limited edition prints can be spectacularly beautiful. We
Yes.
got these beautiful limited edition prints from Shepard Fairey, he was a skateboarder from California and he became an artist. He did the Andre the Giant sticker in like the 80s. And then he was rediscovered when Barack Obama ran for president. He did the Hope poster. That's Shepard Fairey. And we got these beautiful limited edition lithos, and they have a kind of a chalky quality, almost the printing. Like they look so good. It's not like a ratty poster. Like they're spectacular. I wouldn't even, it doesn't disappoint me at all that they're lithos and not originals. So I love them. Anyway, so
Oh,
the
totally.
so
It's
the
not that
bottom line,
quality of like getting a band poster from the mall. It's that
yeah.
high quality paper and print that and that is a lot of artists will, put their original signature on there and embellish it sometimes with a little bit of paint. So even the prints look a little bit different from each print.
Yeah, it's true. It's worth if there's someone, I agree, that's a really good tip. If there's somebody you really like I really want to own a Charlie Pachter and I don't own he's a famous Canadian painter. I really, really have always wanted one. I just haven't done it yet, but it's worth reaching out privately to the artist's own website. And just sometimes, they end up having a sale or anyway, you never know. It's worthwhile. Everybody should be thinking about including artwork as what they offer to clients. I can't recommend that enough. And the book again is Start with the Art, and it's co-authored by our guest today, Natalie Papier and Stephanie Cisco. And the images in the book are so fun. I love, love, love it. All of the information, by the way, will be in the show notes. So if you're writing, don't, try to remember this or try to write it down while you're writing. Just go to businessofdesign.com and it's all there. Natalie, thank you. We like to end every episode with something we call design intervention, which is just great piece of advice you want to leave the listeners with.
Great piece of advice. Oh, there's so many. How do you choose? I think it's really important to trust your gut. More often than not, you get so influenced by what's out there in the world or what the design world is doing or what the trends are. And it's so important to take a step back and question yourself and ask yourself, like, does this actually feel like me? And if it doesn't, don't try to fit into that mold or that box because trends are going to pass. And what you will be left with if you decide to pick up pieces that you're just naturally drawn to is this very happy, soulful home that feels like you.
That's a good word too, soulful. I find if you don't have a good mix of artwork, I don't care how beautiful your home is, it's just not done and it doesn't feel soulful. I think that's a perfect word. Thank you so much. It was great to meet you. It was great to meet your Marlin.
It was so great to meet you too. I feel like you must have some happy clients with all that fun artwork you're finding.
I miss some of the pieces I buy for clients, though. I think about them. I'm like, I want that over my house. But anyway, that's how it is. Next best thing is buying it for somebody else, I guess. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Talk to you again.